Amor Fati, the art of loving fate. The world does not ask for your consent before it unfolds. Dawn replaces night, rivers flow toward the sea, people arrive and depart. We, like travelers on an ancient road, walk a path whose turns we did not design. The Stoic does not curse this path. He embraces it, not as a slave, but as one who understands that every gust of wind carries the breath of necessity. Amor Fati, Latin for love of fate. It is not resignation, it is not passive endurance. It is the rare art of loving life in its entirety, the joys, the losses, the triumphs, the wounds. To love fate is not to surrender to darkness, but to recognize the hidden harmony that runs through all things. Friedrich Nietzsche, echoing the ancient Stoics, wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not for all eternity, not merely to bear what is necessary, but to love it." Long before Nietzsche, the Stoics knew this secret. Epictetus, once a slave, later a sage, taught, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will go on well." That single line holds the heart of Amor Fati, to stop demanding that the universe obey our preferences and to find peace in what simply is. The path of acceptance. Imagine two men walking through a storm. The first clenches his fists and curses the wind, fighting against it with anger and exhaustion. The second bows his head, adjusts his pace, and moves with the wind, letting the storm carry him forward. The storm is the same, only their minds differ. Seneca once wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." To resist what must be is to become a prisoner of what is. To cooperate with it is to become its friend. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means serenity in the face of what cannot be changed and calm resolve to act where action is still possible. A Stoic does not say, "I don't care." He says, "This too belongs to the whole." He does not flee from pain. He studies it, learns from it, and finds within it a hidden purpose. From suffering to strength. Most people seek happiness in the absence of pain, but the Stoic knows strength is born from struggle. Epictetus said, "Death is nothing dreadful, or else Socrates would have thought so. Pain is nothing dreadful, or else Heracles would have fled from it." Each hardship refines the soul as fire refines metal. Loss teaches compassion. Injustice teaches justice. Poverty teaches simplicity. Sorrow teaches love. Fate educates us not with comfort, but with necessity. Seneca observed, "Nothing happens to the wise man contrary to his expectation. Everything that comes, he knows could come." The wise are never shocked by life, for they have ceased expecting it to be easy. They do not quarrel with the sea. They learn to sail.
The universe as a living order. To the Stoic, the cosmos is not chaos. It is a living, breathing order. Logos, the divine reason that shapes all things. Each of us is a fragment of this greater whole, like a leaf on a vast tree. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time. The twining of threads in the web of fate was woven together long ago." When we rebel against destiny, we are like a hand rebelling against the body. We forget that we ourselves are part of nature's design. To accept fate is to remember that what happens through us also happens for us. Even pain serves the harmony of the whole, as night serves day, as silence serves music. Love of necessity. Love of fate is not a cold detachment from life, it is the warm recognition that life is already enough. Many suffer because they love only what they imagine, the future they desire, the past they miss. They resist reality and call it unfair. Amor Fati asks us to love this reality even when it wounds us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" It is not blind optimism, it is wisdom. To love what happens is to trust that nothing is wasted. Every loss, every challenge, every mistake becomes material for virtue, courage, patience, humility, and compassion. To love fate is to love oneself as a thread in the great fabric of existence. To hate fate is to tear oneself away from the very whole that gives life meaning. The stillness of the inner world. When one ceases to fight the inevitable, a deep stillness arises, not indifference, but quiet strength. Seneca reminded us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." The greatest poverty is not material lack, but discontent with reality. The Stoic, content with what is, becomes the richest of men. His peace does not depend on the turning of fortune's wheel, for its axis lies within him. This is the beginning of Amor Fati. First, one learns to endure, then to accept, then to be grateful, and finally, to love. It is a long road, perhaps the work of a lifetime, yet every step upon it is already a form of victory. The furnace of the soul, how hardship shapes strength. Iron cannot become a sword without fire. So too the soul cannot become wise without trials. Fate does not hurl misfortune to destroy us, it tempers us. Every challenge, every loss, every pain is a forge in which character is shaped. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Few lines in philosophy carry such depth. What we call obstacles are not barriers, but instruments. Fate does not block the path, it is the path. The universe whispers, "You wish to be strong? Then here is something to endure." For without resistance, strength remains a theory. When we meet suffering, we meet the limits of our fragility. When we move through it, we meet the truth of our resilience. Thus is born that quiet power that no loss, no cruelty, no death can ever extinguish. The fire that purifies. Seneca said, "As gold is tested by fire, so are brave souls by adversity." Yet gold does not fear the flames. It passes through them to reveal its brilliance. In the same way, the human soul, passing through pain, sheds pride, vanity, and fear. It learns simplicity, humility, and strength. Most people pray for comfort. They wish for the path to be smooth. But smoothness softens. Ease makes us weak. Only by facing roughness does one discover the hidden reserves of endurance. Epictetus, who knew slavery and hardship, taught, "Do not wish for events to happen as you want them to, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." He did not say the world would become easy. He said your mind would. The difference is everything. strength in endurance, not in victory. The Stoics did not worship success, they honored integrity. To them, suffering was not an evil, but an invitation to virtue. Seneca wrote, "Things are not bad in themselves, but our opinions make them so." A storm is neither good nor bad, it simply is. But the mind paints it with fear or wisdom. Meaning lies not in the event, but in the eye that beholds it. When you lose a friend, fate has not robbed you of love, it has shown you how deep love truly runs. When you lose your fortune, fate reveals that your wealth was never in coins, but in character. When you meet injustice, it invites you to become the justice the world lacks. Amor Fati is not the cold armor of indifference. It is the inner fire that says, "This too will serve me." The world as a teacher. Each trial is a lesson, but only the attentive student learns. Most people curse their pain and waste their suffering. The Stoic studies it, deciphers it, and finds wisdom within. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Misfortune nobly borne is good fortune." Why? Because the mind that meets adversity with dignity is already victorious. Evil cannot wound the soul that has made peace with necessity. Seneca said, "Prosperity shows the world in its sweetness. Adversity reveals men in their greatness." Pain, then, is not an enemy. It is a messenger, a stern but faithful friend that strips away illusion. Even the storm that uproots the tree prepares the ground for new life.
Dignity before destiny. True strength is not the absence of suffering, it is the presence of dignity amid suffering. The Stoic ideal is not to avoid the blows of fate, but to meet them upright. Epictetus reminded his students, "If you wish your children, your wife, and your friends to live forever, you are foolish, for you wish what is not in your power. But if you wish never to fail to get what you desire, learn to desire only what depends on you." Freedom begins where dependence ends. Fate may take away possessions, health, or loved ones, but it cannot take away our choice of response. Thus, a slave could be freer than a king. Epictetus's body belonged to his master, but his mind did not. He was unshakable, for he had placed his happiness not in circumstances, but in virtue. When fate strikes, the ordinary complain. The Stoic transforms. The hero's path. Every myth tells the same truth. Greatness is born of hardship. Heracles would not be a hero without his labors. Prometheus would not be a symbol of courage without his chains. Seneca said, "The gods test those they love." This is not cruelty, it is confidence. Fate challenges those capable of rising above it. Every wound is an opportunity to embody courage, every loss a chance to prove love. The same fire that burns also forges. The quiet power. Stoic strength is not loud. It does not boast. It is silent, calm, immovable. It is the serenity that looks upon storms without trembling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are offended, consider that it is not the other person's actions that disturb you, but your judgment of them. Understanding is armor. Once you see that all beings act according to their nature, anger dissolves. You cannot hate the storm for raining, nor the waves for rising. The wise man stops blaming and starts learning." Acceptance as courage.
To accept fate is not to bow in defeat. It is to rise in trust. It is not weakness to say yes to the inevitable. It is the highest form of bravery. Amor Fati is when a person stands before the tempest and says, "You are a part of me." And at that moment, the tempest changes. It ceases to be an adversary and becomes the wind that fills the sails.
Stillness amid chaos, the way to clarity and peace. There are storms that rage outside and storms that rage within. The Stoic learns that the outer ones cannot be calmed, only the inner. To master the mind is to find stillness even while the world trembles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Those few words contain the essence of peace. It is not the task of a human being to command the universe, but to command himself. The world will bring loss, injustice, noise, and change, yet the one who governs his own thoughts remains untouched, like a mountain surrounded by mist, seen but unmoved. The discipline of perception. All turmoil begins with perception. We call things good or evil, fortunate or disastrous, but these are only opinions, reflections of the mind. The Stoic trains his perception as a sculptor shapes marble, chipping away illusion until truth stands clear. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." An insult has no sting until you grant it one. A setback has no weight until you name it defeat. Even pain changes character when you meet it with calm eyes. To love fate is not to call pain pleasant, but to refuse to let it enslave the soul. When you wake each day, the Stoics advised, remind yourself, today I will meet selfish people, ungrateful people, deceitful people, but they are all my kin, acting out of ignorance, not evil. Thus forewarned, you are free from anger before it arises. Marcus Aurelius called this premeditatione malorum, the premeditation of evils. It is not pessimism, it is preparation. He wrote, "When you are disturbed by something external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The key to freedom lies in that phrase, you have the power to revoke it. Harmony with the whole. The Stoic does not see himself as an isolated being. He belongs to the universe as a wave belongs to the sea. To fight the whole is madness. To flow with it is wisdom. Seneca taught, "We are members of one great body, planted by nature in a community. Therefore, when others harm us, we do not meet hatred with hatred. For what sense is there in the hand striking the other hand? Even injustice becomes an opportunity to act with justice, not because the world is fair, but because virtue is its own reward." To live in harmony with the whole is to see the divine order in all things. Even chaos has its rhythm. Even tragedy has its music.
Silence and the inner citadel. Imagine a fortress built not of stone, but of discipline and understanding. No sword can pierce it. No insult can breach it. No misfortune can destroy it. This is what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel. He wrote, "Men seek retreats for themselves, in the countryside, by the sea, or in the mountains.
but it is in your own mind that you may retreat whenever you choose. How many flee from life in search of peace, yet carry turmoil within? Peace is not found by running from the world. It is found by standing still within it. The mind trained in reason and reflection becomes a sanctuary that no external event can invade. When you find yourself shaken, return inward. Ask, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let it go. Between those two answers lies all human freedom. The weight of opinions. One of the heaviest burdens is the fear of others' judgment. But to a Stoic, this fear is born of misunderstanding. Epictetus asked, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." A man ruled by the opinions of others is not free. The crowd praises one day and condemns the next. Their voice is the wind, but the voice of conscience is steady and quiet. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The approval of such people who know neither themselves nor the world, what is its worth?" He knew that the praise of fools and the scorn of the ignorant carry equal emptiness. Only virtue is real honor. Only peace of mind is real wealth. To live by principle rather than applause, that is Amor Fati. Nature's rhythm. Every dawn and dusk teaches the same lesson. Nothing lasts, yet nothing is lost. The Stoics looked to nature not for beauty alone, but for instruction. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Look at the trees. Their roots grow deep only because they have faced wind. Look at rivers. They carve stone not by force, but by persistence. Nature teaches resilience through repetition. So too must the human soul endure, bend and adapt, learning to trust the larger rhythm that holds all things together. To love fate is to join that rhythm, to let life move through you as breath moves through lungs. The art of letting go. Clinging is the cause of sorrow. We cling to what must change and then mourn its change. The Stoic learns to love while knowing he must one day lose, to act while knowing results are uncertain, to live while remembering death is near. Epictetus wrote, "Never say about anything, 'I have lost it,' but only, 'I have given it back.'" He saw life not as ownership, but as stewardship. The cup you drink from, the home you live in, the friend you love, all are gifts temporarily entrusted to you. When they are taken, gratitude remains, not grief. That is Amor Fati, to give back joyfully what was never truly yours. The calm beyond desire. Desire and fear are twins, both born from attachment to outcomes. The Stoic's freedom begins when he no longer says, "I must have" or "I must avoid." Instead, he says, "Let what will happen, happen, and I will meet it with virtue." Seneca advised, "Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear." Hope and fear are two ends of the same chain, each binding the soul to what it cannot control. When both fall away, only tranquility remains, not the emptiness of indifference, but the fullness of acceptance. Then the mind, like a still pond, reflects the world clearly, not distorted by desire, not troubled by fear.
Amor Fati, the flame that illuminates all things. The journey of the Stoic is not a path away from the world, but deeper into it. He learns, step by step, to see life not as something to be endured, but as something to be loved. When the circle is complete, Amor Fati is no longer an idea, it becomes the rhythm of one's heartbeat. To love fate is to say yes to life, not the life you wish you had, but the one you have been given. In this acceptance, bitterness melts into gratitude, and fear dissolves into wonder. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That is Amor Fati. The fire does not choose its fuel, yet whatever is given to it, it transforms into light. From endurance to love. At first, we endure. Then we accept. Then we understand. And finally, we love. What begins as stoic endurance matures into a profound affection for the world as it is. This is not naive optimism, but a wise joy born from seeing the pattern behind the pain. Seneca said, "A good character, when it has been tested, grows even stronger." Just as a sculptor strikes the marble not to destroy it, but to reveal the hidden form, so fate strikes the human being to uncover the hidden virtue. The Stoic learns to welcome each blow, for he trusts the hand of the sculptor. He no longer says, "Why me?" He says, "For what purpose has this come?" And that question alone transforms suffering into strength. The universe as friend. The ultimate lesson of Amor Fati is reconciliation, the end of inner war. The Stoic no longer feels exiled in an indifferent universe. He feels at home in a vast, mysterious order. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "All that happens, happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so." To trust that order is to befriend destiny. Even when storms rage, he senses an intelligence greater than his own at work, an intelligence that arranges both the blooming of a rose and the fall of an empire with equal precision. To live with Amor Fati is to feel that the entire cosmos breathes with you. You are not a stranger here. You are part of the song. Gratitude for everything. Gratitude is the purest form of wisdom. It does not wait for comfort. It blossoms in adversity. The Stoic thanks life for all of it, the laughter and the loss, the warmth and the cold. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude is the bridge between acceptance and love. Once the mind learns to give thanks, even for pain, it discovers that everything has value. Every tear, every wound, every fleeting joy. And then one sees that the purpose of suffering was not to break us, but to awaken us. The beauty of transience. Everything changes. That which blooms will wither, that which rises will fall, that which begins will end. To resist this law is to fight against the current of existence itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe how all things change and cease to be afraid of the change." The Stoic does not cling. He loves and lets go. He walks through life as through a garden, admiring every flower without demanding that any remain forever. This understanding brings a rare serenity, for the one who accepts impermanence finds eternity in each passing moment.
To love fate is to love change, for change is the language of life.
Freedom within necessity. Many imagine freedom as doing whatever one wishes, but true freedom, the Stoics knew, lies in wanting only what must be. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his passions." The passions, fear, greed, resentment, chain the soul to the shifting world. But when the soul aligns its will with the will of nature, it moves freely, even within necessity. Thus the sage walks unshackled, not because the world bends to him, but because he bends with the world. He dances with destiny rather than resisting its rhythm. Freedom is not escape, it is harmony. The sacred ordinary. When the mind awakens to Amor Fati, even the smallest things become luminous. The glint of sunlight on water, the creak of a door, the laughter of a child, all become signs of the same vast mystery. The Stoic no longer divides life into sacred and mundane. Everything is sacred, for everything belongs. Epictetus said, "Remember that you are an actor in a play, which the playwright has chosen for you, short if he wishes it short, long if he wishes it long. If he wants you to play a beggar, see that you play it well." Whatever role fate assigns, emperor or servant, teacher or wanderer, the wise man plays it with grace. He does not curse the script, he performs it beautifully. For he knows the stage itself is divine. Death and continuity. To love fate fully is to love even death, the final act in the play. Death is not an injustice, but a return. It is the completion of a circle, the moment when the wave merges again with the sea. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Death gives life its urgency and its sweetness. It teaches us to cherish each day as a gift, to waste none of it in complaint or fear. The Stoic greets death as an old friend, for he has spent his life practicing the art of letting go. The final peace. When the mind loves fate, it stops asking why and begins to say yes. That yes is peace. That yes is wisdom. That yes is love. All the contradictions of life, joy and grief, creation and destruction, love and loss, dissolve into a single understanding. Everything belongs. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." To live unconquered is not to avoid pain, but to transform it into meaning. To love fate is to see that there was never an enemy, only a teacher wearing many faces. And so the Stoic stands before the world, calm, grateful, unafraid. He has learned the greatest secret, that life in every moment is exactly as it should be. Epilogue. The flame of acceptance. Imagine the soul as a flame. Fate throws into it whatever it will, joy, loss, laughter, pain, and the flame consumes all, giving light. Nothing is wasted, nothing is refused. That is Amor Fati. Not the cold acceptance of what must be, but the radiant love of what is. To walk this path is to turn every burden into meaning, every ending into a beginning, and every sorrow into wisdom.
When you can finally look upon your life with all its scars, failures, and triumphs and whisper, "I would not have it any other way," then you have understood the art of loving fate. Amor Fati, the art of turning the inevitable into the beloved, the transient into the eternal, and the ordinary into the divine.